Back to the KUAM News Zoom room where we're catching up with Administration Director Ed Birn. Good morning, Mr. Birn.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Sabrina. How are you?
Okay. How are you?
You doing okay, Mr. Birn?
Well, my car won't start this morning, so I've got some enforced tele working here. But other than that, okay, thank you. How are you?
That's good. Maybe that's a silver lining from up above that, hey, you want to maybe stay home today and work from home, a little more comfortable environment.
Oh, I think I have to get to the office.
All right. Well, okay, Bree, go ahead.
Oh, okay. You wanted to start first with what happened last week, Friday, or was it? Yeah, Friday. Some people are saying it was a Payless Payday. Coast 360, they came out with a press release. I think it was like Friday night, right? That there was some issues with Department of Administration and depositing money into, I guess, their account. Can you kind of just let us know what happened with that?
We're still investigating what happened because it's a long chain that goes from us through Bank of Guam, through to the federal system, through to credit unions. But something went wrong along the way on the transmission of the funds to the credit unions. Everybody, to my knowledge, all the credit unions received the funds on Saturday. The people that banked at regular clearing banks got their money on schedule.
So what's supposed to happen? Maybe we should just start there.
Well, there are 3 transmissions that go for the payroll. The first one is for people that are customers of Bank of Guam. The second one is for people that are customers for other clearing banks, and the third one is for people that are customers of credit unions. And something went wrong with that third transmission. We're still investigating it. Unfortunately, it was a long weekend, so as soon as I do get into the office, I will try and find out exactly what happened. Okay. But I was assured that the funds reached their customers on Saturday.
Right, and it was only just Coast 360, or was it other credit unions? Because we only got the release from.
It was all credit unions who were in that third transmission.
But everybody got paid Saturday.
That's the best information I have. Yes.
Okay. So you're not 100% sure on whether or not any government.
Well, I'm not a member of each of those credit unions.
Right, but I'm sure people would complain.
What they did with the funds, is a matter between them and their customer. But I know each of the credit unions received the appropriate funds on Saturday.
Okay. Okay, let's get an update on programman, Salapi,
Adunani Tautau, Panelas Dogu, and Empanada.
Has that program all paid out?
We're not fully paid out. We've processed everybody. We've identified a number of people who made a claim, but that claim wasn't backed up by the documents that they submitted along with the claim. For instance, we had this is an example, if a claimant submitted a claim with 3 dependents, but only submitted documentation to support 2 dependents, that claim was suspended. We have made the decision to pay out based upon the supporting documents rather than the claim. So we will be paying out that claim with 2 dependents, and that will be going out this week. Other than that, everybody has been paid out.
Oh, so what's the total amount that's been paid out?
It's about 17 million.
17. Okay.
And could you, what?
Are you guys investigating any reports of fraud with regard?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that, Sabrina.
Any cases of fraud with the programman Salapi program?
We don't have the same problem that Dave has at DOL in these are smaller sums of money. we're not identifying actual fraud. As I say, we're just identifying people who made a claim which wasn't supported by the documentation. We had some people who made a claim under the program, Salapi program, but also made a claim under a different program. They weren't entitled to two payments, so we just disallowed one. So we're not really viewing it as fraud. We're just disallowing payments if we've identified someone who made, either in error or by design, made a claim on two different types of payments. We're not, the DOL program is subject to federal rules and regulations. As you know, this is a local program, so we're treating it rather differently. We like to give people the benefit of the doubt because we understand that people are in need. So we've done what we can to lean in the favor of the claimant. If you're asking if would we be taking any legal action on the consequences, no, we're not. Well, that's not a matter that we're pursuing at this time.
Right. Ed, I know you said that it's a local program, but in using the federal CARES Act money, are we subject to audit of these local programs that use the CARES Act funds? Do you know?
Yes, we're subject to audit. In fact, we've got 3 different layers of audit. We've got our own procedures on making sure that CARES Act funds are appropriately spent on CARES Act activities, and obviously this program is one of them. Right. We have the regular annual audit where our auditors perform what's called a single audit, which is an audit on all federal programs or federal expenditures. And that would take place normally at the end of after the end of the financial year, which is, is the end of this month. But also we have an additional layer, and this is something that we're getting information, and it changes, or I should say gets increased and augmented day by day. The US Treasury Inspector General also has the ability to look into how we spend those funds, and we have to do a report. And at the end of this month, we have to do a detailed report on the expenditure to the end of June, and then subsequently the expenditure to the end of September. And that will be subject to this Inspector General survey too. So there's a lot of eyes on how we spend the money.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get an update on because I know you guys pay out the checks and don't necessarily determine the award amounts, but for the GITA, man, what's it called?
The
GITA
relief program?
The relief for small businesses program. Does it have a name, Ed?
I don't think so. I think it's just called the Small Business Program. We've been paying out those as they come to us. They come in batches. The last batch we got was actually on Friday. It was a fairly small batch. So we've been paying that out, and it's around about, we're around about 16 million on that too.
That's total?
Yes.
Can you kind of, because you did last time when we asked, maybe run through some of the amounts on some of those checks so we can kind of get a ballpark figure of.
On the small business program, it's a calculation, and it's a calculation which is related to their lost revenues. So it could be anything from $50 to $20,000, and that depends upon how it's calculated. DOA isn't involved in the calculation of that. That's something that's completed by GITA. Obviously, if we saw something that was totally out of range, we would question it. But so far, everything has been within range. And I haven't heard that there's been any issues with the calculations that have been reported to GITA, because I haven't been asked to reissue checks. So everything seems to be going pretty smoothly.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Ed, by any chance, would you be able to provide just a rounded estimate on how much in the $117 million in CARES Act funding has been spent to date, other than the $33 million for the GITA Small Business and the Programmen Sulapi Zudini Tata programs? anything else?
Yeah, I mean, it changes day by day, Sabrina, obviously, but at the moment, it's at the end of August, it was around about 50 million.
So do you have an idea where well, can you tell us where the 20 million then went to? Aside
20
from
million?
the estimated 20 million, because you said that 17 million was paid out with CARES Act funding for the Program and Salapi program, then the 16 million for the Gita small business, and you said roughly about 50 million was used. So the remaining.
You mean the balance
Yeah.
of the 20 million. It's a number of programs. Some of it is we've been used to pay for the hazard pay, which is payable to in particular, the frontline responders. Some of it is PPE equipment, that we have to provide to people working. Some of it is medical. I guess one of the biggest slices is the QFAC facilities. Where we have now a fair number of people in quarantine and a few people in isolation. And if that's one of the biggest slices of expense that we've so far put through the CARES Act funding.
All right. And
Ed, I know it's out of your lane, but someone called about tax refunds because you guys print them, right? Are we getting any, Ben?
We don't print them,
Oh,
Chris, no.
okay.
They're printed by DRT. We get them and we basically account for them and mail them to the recipients.
So what, can you tell us anything about anything?
Tax refund?
Yeah.
Yes, we're about, so far we paid out about 87 million in tax refunds. So we're pretty much in line. We're ahead of previous years. But as I say, we don't actually print them. So
Yeah, my bad.
I'm not sure of the total population of refunds, but as you know, the budget provides for about 125 million. So you can see we're pretty well far along with the issuance of these tax refunds. And we haven't, in previous years, we've had to wait for the Section 30 money before we made some fairly significant payments. This year, we've been paying it out pretty much as on a schedule as we've been going along. So people can, if they know they file on a particular date, they're pretty well assured as to when they're going to get their refunds.
Ed, just last question here. The COVID hazard pay differential, the overtime, all that stuff, because we just came over Labor Day, right, for the working people. Are we up current on all those payments?
We're current with the ones that have been submitted. I have a listing of departments that haven't submitted various reports to us. But DOA is up to date with payment for the authorized overtime for which they've received timesheets or some other indication.
So who did you have to send a nasty letter to?
Oh, I don't send nasty letters to anyone. All my letters are
Cordial.
all my letters are nice, right? But there are some departments that are slow, and I think that's because they're taking care to make sure that the overtime is correct and properly recorded. But it is the policy, and I have told these departments, it is the policy of DOA that we pay overtime as it's incurred. And in particular, the non-exempt employees are covered by federal rules, and we make sure that we do everything we can to comply with those federal rules.
so which departments? Is it a long list of departments?
No, it's not a long list, and I think I'll leave that. I don't think I should be saying which departments they are, because that might change today if we get some reports in.
It's mostly
But
law
those
enforcement, right?
departments, they know which they are, and we've been in contact with them.
Okay. Okay, Ed. I just said would advise them to stick to the schedule.
Absolutely, the schedule, and I haven't said it that way for over 30 years. But the schedule is all important.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Birn.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
Go
Have a
feed
good
that
day.
cat. What's the cat's name?
cat's name is Harold.
That's so
He's
so
being very
British.
noisy, and he's being very noisy, which means he hasn't got his treat.
Right. Here, Harold, come hither.
I wish it were as easy. I wish it was easy for me.
Right. Hey, well, at least you get to spend time with the cat until you get to work. Thanks, Ed.
Thanks, Sabrina. Have
Okay.
a good day.
Stay safe.
Wash your hands. 7:52. Quick break. Coming back with Maria Pangolina of the Guam Election Commission. Harold, that totally fits, right?
Yeah. Harold, yeah.
For
I
a-
thought he was gonna say Garfield. Like, whoa.
Come here, Harold, and get your treat.
He's a proper British gentleman. You know?
I know, yeah. All right. Just
God
come,
save the
Harold, and have your morning crumpets.
God save the Queen.
Harold, would you fancy a shepherd's pie? That's all I got, guys. That's all I
Yeah,
got.
stop.
7:53. Good morning. It's the Link on the Breeze 93.9.
Learn more about our